Who knew? Oklahoma, this little town in Oklahoma. Weather forecast for today, windy.
My heart rate's just now coming down.
Glad we came out. We kind of took a chance on this one, not knowing much about it.
Yeah.
And it's a winner.
Traveling through western Oklahoma, and we're seeing a lot of tumbleweeds. Of course, the winds are really high. We're seeing them cross the road, go through the ditches, and we're easily amused, and so we're getting a lot of excitement out of this.
You know you're in western Oklahoma when you're dodging tumbleweeds on the highway.
Came the question of, is it an actual plant, or is it a compiled tumbling of different plant species, which is kind of what we were leaning towards, which is not true. So there are different species, but the main one, especially here in Oklahoma, is what they call the Russian thistle, and then it dies, and then it tumbles away, and breaks off at the root, kind of tumbles away. It's believed that in the late 1800s, Russian immigrants came over with bags of seed, like flaxseed, that was contaminated with this Russian thistle, and then it took hold, and since it was not a native plant, it just kind of took off. So it is known to be non-native and invasive, but we're still going to enjoy them as they roll across the plains.
Two in a row. It's the second place in a row we've been, and we've been dead level as soon as we pulled in.
Nice.
This one's kind of cheating because it's concrete, but the last place was gravel. So our auto level is going to take like 2 seconds, and
nice work.
So we're just about to set up here at Bowling Springs State Park in Woodward, Oklahoma. Not a really big place, but we were coming out to western Oklahoma anyway for a couple of reasons. We'll get to that later. But we wanted to stay here at this state park. It's nice. It's full hookups, 35 bucks a night. Concrete pads, or at least in our campground, it's concrete pads, nice and level. You know, it's kind of cold outside, but it's going to be nice and sunny, so it should be good. We're just going to have to bundle up, but the people are really friendly. The sites are really nice. They have 2 different campgrounds here. They're right beside each other. One's the shorter site with the 30 amp service, and these are actually for big rigs and 50 amp service and full hookups. I did call ahead on this since it was state park, just to make sure there wasn't any low clearances or super small sites or anything, and they were really helpful on the phone. But do call ahead to state parks if you have a bigger rig, just to make sure they don't have any clearances. The lady I talked to on the phone, I think her name was Mary, she was really helpful, but I told her, you know, what I have, what I'm coming in with. She's like, yep, no problem, you're good. We've had bigger rigs than you in here, and these are pretty good sites for a state park. So but it's cold, so let's get set up, get in the house.
And so we realized that we're a little too excited over the tumbleweeds.
Well, let's back up. We get excited over little anything. We stopped and made it a point in Hot Springs, Arkansas, to get a shot of a little bird taking a bath in a fountain. We've been in western Oklahoma, just got there last night. We're staying at Bowling Springs State Park. It was just a short 200-mile drive yesterday out of Oklahoma City. We did have a big traffic jam that that took a lot of time out of our trip, but overall a pretty good travel day. But as we got closer and closer to Woodward, Oklahoma, where the park is, we started seeing tumbleweeds going across major highways and everything else, and hence the fascination with tumbleweeds. So I guess let us know in the comments if you want like a, 5 or 10 minute episode of our tumbleweed compilation, because
a 30-minute tumbleweed video.
we're probably going to have that much tumbleweed video.
When I checked in at the visitor center, the two ladies there, they were talking to the park ranger. So I got to talking to him, and he said, well, that's what you do in Oklahoma. You go down the highway dodging potholes and tumbleweeds. And so, well, we did a little bit of that. During Depression, they fed the tumbleweeds to the cattle and the horses. Now, it's not hard and crunchy initially. It's actually...
They cut it when it's still green, right?
Yeah, it's actually soft and edible. And they would even cook with them. And the lady in the visitor center said that they used to pickle them, so they were a little more palatable and could eat them. I asked them if any of them had tried them, and they said no, but I think that they're thinking about it now. So I warned them if I saw them out in the field nibbling on tumbleweeds that I was going to call them out.
We're heading over to Alabaster Caverns State Park. It's just about a 25-minute jaunt from Bowling Springs State Park, which is where we're camping. We are bundled up and layered up, and we're going to go check out these caverns. Just a quick warning, it is extremely windy today. Bear with us if you get a little wind noise in the next little part of this video.
Weather forecast for today. Windy. Very windy.
So this is actually called Cedar Canyon, I was reading over there. Caves and caverns have a life cycle. So when the water stops flowing and things naturally get wet and dry up, over time a cave will collapse. And sometimes it creates small caves that you might have to crawl through, or a human couldn't even get through, for bats and animals and stuff like that. And sometimes they make complete huge sinkholes, and that's what this is. This is Cedar Canyon. It said that this used to be a cavern that has collapsed, and now it's, home to trees and animals and wildlife and the occasional hiker. But this is really pretty.
This is either the salt crystal that we saw, or the one that I can't pronounce, the SCLENITE.
How far down does that appear to
I
go?
don't know.
Oh, it goes down.
It's lined with crystal.
Or gypsum. We haven't quite determined what that is yet. Wow. So this whole area that we're standing on used to be that. One massive cave.
Who knew? Oklahoma. This little town in Oklahoma.
Good job, Oklahoma.
This is neat.
So I mentioned earlier that we're staying at Bowling Springs State Park, and we actually did that to see a couple of different things, but when I started looking for a place to stay out here, there wasn't a lot to offer, and I found that Bowling Springs State Park had a campground. We went there. It's really nice. Turns out Alabaster does too. But this was all in part of heading a little farther west into Oklahoma to work our way over to see my aunt here in a few days. There's a lot of beauty in these small state parks, and they need our support. A lot of them are struggling financially, so don't hesitate just to check out what's going on in whatever area you may be in, or something close to where you live, because there's good stuff everywhere. Sometimes you just gotta hunt for it.
This is neat. It's a 45-minute tour, so a couple hours out of our day. We're gonna go back, we're gonna have some lunch, we're gonna go find something else to do. Sometimes I like those days, so
yeah,
this is cool.
When it's, in the 30s outside and you've got a high wind, some days you don't want to go out and hike for 8 hours. Some days that 45-minute hike and then go warm up for a second is about perfect. So,
it'll be a good day to tuck into a cave, I think.
yeah, All right, let's go check it.
So it's really unique out here is having a gypsum cave. We're actually the only gypsum show cave in the United States, and the largest gypsum show cave in the world. So it's gonna point out a few bats, you guys. You guys see any?
I see one.
Here.
You have a bunch of them right above you.
Those are all baby bats.
Yeah, these are all full-grown bats right here.
Oh, those are full grown.
Yep, they're pretty tiny.
Okay.
Oh,
They gave me a little bit of a panic attack.
Sorry, I brought you some pretty close to these, but
wow.
yeah, they're full-grown here. They actually have a wingspan of about 12 inches. So
Those little things, man?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they're in hibernation right now?
Yeah, so they're hibernating now, and you know they get in these bigger groups or clusters. They'll stay like this throughout the winter time.
That's
My heart
wild.
rate's just now coming down.
You know, a lot of times the ones by themselves are going to be males. They're hanging out by themselves. This rock is so, you know, soft, and it holds quite a bit of water in it, so that allows it to flex just a little bit. This is actually rated a 2. Your fingernails are rated at a 3. Kind of put the scale for you.
Oh, wow.
They're
Softer,
soft.
than a
yeah.
fingernail. Wow.
That water table sits above us at this point. Yeah, so this is kind of more of my favorite part of the cave up here. This actually some selenite crystals that we see up here. It's actually also known as isinglass. Used to be used for like early automobile windows.
Oh, yeah.
Really would be a safe place for, you know, fallout shelter or tornado shelter. Yeah. They're not built like a bird. They can't jump actually from the ground and start flying. They actually have to drop from a suspended ceiling. So
So if they hit the ground, they can't get back up.
yeah, if they find themselves on the ground, they have to climb themselves back up on a wall somewhere.
How many bats are right there, if you just had to put a number on it based on your bat counts?
Just this group right here, there could be probably, you know, close to 800 or so maybe.
I see a couple of them moving just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Man, there's a bunch.
Alabaster Caverns State Park. So if I'm being completely honest, it looked a little touristy and small, so my expectations were low. I figured that it would be nice, but I didn't know how nice. Well, I think this is the time of year that you come. Inside the cavern is a consistent temp, and so even though it's cold and windy outside, it was perfect in there. Now I think they have a lot of tours in the summer, but no one was here. I think they do have some funding concerns, so I say come out. Right now, we got a VIP tour. Just the two of us. We got to take our time. We got to stop where we wanted. This was perfect for this time of year.
Yeah, and there's some outdoor hikes and things like that. There's a lot of things that you could do, just self-guided, some outdoor hikes and some short trails, nothing crazy, but when it's cold outside, you know, that half a mile to mile and a half may be about right without getting too cold. We paid $10 for the tour. Remember, the Park Service actually gave the tour, and he was a really good tour guide. I think his name was Danny. I'm horrible with names, but I believe his name was Danny. He was a great tour guide, showed us everything. And inside the cavern, they have all kinds of domes, and most of the domes are named. We had looked online before we came in here, and they had said that at any given time, there's about 19,000 bats in there. And he said at their last bat count, there were 22,000 bats. So just a great tour guide. He actually took us a little farther than the standard tour. Just we had some extra time because we were the only ones there, so he was able to stretch us out a little farther. We were probably about 60 feet underground at the deepest point. And just a really cool place. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about, you know, the small stuff's cool too, just because it's not Yellowstone or Badlands National Park. These are things you could do on a Saturday afternoon, even if you're not camping. Find that stuff close by and go check it out, because, you know, we've seen it in Arkansas and we found it everywhere we've been, places that we had just overlooked that were awesome. So,
and another reason to come this time of year are the bats. They are in hibernation. So you see them in the summertime too, maybe flying around, but they're going to tuck away a little bit more. They're going to go have their babies kind of in another area. Well,
secluded.
Since they're in hibernation, October through March or April, we would just walk right under them without knowing. I appreciate the bat. I just don't want them grazing my face when I'm walking past them. So they spooked me a few times. But it's pretty fascinating to see. If you're a tall person, look up. Look up and duck some.
Great time, great tour guide. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad we came out. We kind of took a chance on this one, not knowing much about it. And it's a winner. So if you're in western Oklahoma, check out Alabaster Caverns State Park.
Bear. We're gonna need those jackets in a second. We're gonna need those jackets, ma'am. Bear, the jackets. We gotta get the laundry. It's cold outside. Bear, we're gonna need those jackets. You have a bed over there. Bear, I'm gonna need those jackets now. I guess we'll go see what's in the closet.
If you told me we were still in Oklahoma, I would tell you that you're lying. If you had blindfolded me and taken me here.
Yeah.
We are at Gloss Mountain.
State Park.
Yeah, Gloss Mountain State Park. And it's just a little thing right off the highway. GPS did not get us here.
No, the GPS got us to the side of the highway about a mile from the entrance, but that's okay. It was easy enough to find.
We kept driving until we saw the sign and then we pulled over. So we made it.
So this definitely doesn't look like our normal perception of Oklahoma. Most of the Oklahoma that we traveled as kids was on the eastern side. So this definitely looks a lot more western. We're camping in Woodward, Oklahoma, and this is about a 45-minute drive east of there. I'm not sure what the town is to reference this to, but we can probably find it and put it in the description. But yeah, I mean, this looks really cool. We're going to take about a 1.5 mile hike and try to set up a spot to watch the sun go down. Ange, what are we looking for?
Just a little detour. Just gonna trek back a little bit for it.
So in the past month, Angela's lost a glove on our little home base back home. A $30-something set of Carhartt work gloves.
I go through a lot of gloves.
And then today, on the trail, not 1/10 of a mile away from the car, mind you, oh, I've lost a glove.
I'm adjusting things.
And if you travel and you go out into these state and national parks, you know, you've seen it. There's always a random glove or a random hat or a random sandal, you know, all little kid sizes because they drop stuff a lot in the trail. That was her.
Oh, I found another battery in my pocket. It needs to be charged.
She can find a battery, but not gloves. Anyway, so we're back on the trail.
Take a peek at this trail.
Yeah. This is where we're going. Right up here. Straight up?
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Yeah, hang on to the steps or...
Those are some really jagged steps. They're short steps. They're really short steps. They're like barely as long as your foot, and you'll step in between them if you're not careful.
Why do you think they have a bench here?
It's the lazy bench.
They have little rewards at each section where you can sit down. There's that gypsum.
It's pretty, isn't it? Another reward. This is more like trying to cross a cattle guard.
Need you to edit out all my heavy breathing. This is part of the trail.
Is that the end of the trail?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it goes across the mountain up here.
We're the only ones here again, so we get to pick our sunset spot.
Here.
Oh, I'm good.
Wow. That lasts a bit.
You know, if you had a small child or somebody in flip-flops, the stairs may be a little bit of a challenge. It's not that it's, I mean, it's steep, but it's not killer steep. It's more that they're really short, slim steps. They got guardrails and everything. Just pay attention, but
Just hang on to them.
yeah, and wear shoes. This isn't a flip-flop thing. And I only say that because I used to wear flip-flops and stuff like this. Our truck's way down there. Like our old high school alma mater motto, the higher you climb, the better the view.
Can't believe you remember that.
We heard it a lot. Tiger proud.
Principal Wilson would be very proud of you.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't me either.
Right now we're at 1,550 feet of elevation. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it's Oklahoma, and that's a lot in Oklahoma. So here's a broken piece of this gypsum I found along the trail. This is actually what is used to make drywall. One of the common ingredients, one of the main ingredients in drywall is gypsum. But I found this along the trail, and you can see when it breaks, it gets flaky. And they press that in with other chemicals to make drywall.
I didn't know that.
Glass Mountains or Gloss Mountains. In February of 1873, the name Glass Mountains appeared in a map issued by the Federal General Land Office. 2 years later, the same office issued another map calling them the Gloss Mountains, thus participating a conflict that continues to this day. The 1875 map resulted from a survey led by an engineer named T.H. Barrett. Historiographer James Cloud is of the opinion that a draftsman copied this map and misread the A for an O. A persistent legend exists that a member of that first exploring party was British or Bostonman. This member awakened early one morning in the survey camp on the knoll located east of this point and saw the sun of the glistening clear crystals of selenite. In his long eastern dialect, he exclaimed, "Why, they look just like glaws." G-L-A-W-S. The party's cartographer simply recorded what he thought he heard, indeed a passing error. Gloss Mountain Conservancy Incorporated. So that's why some people call them glass and some people call them gloss. That's pretty cool. Just a mistake that became history. Right here this morning in Boiling Springs State Park. It's our last day here. It's kind of nice to have a 2 p.m. checkout, so we had some time this morning to do some of our teardown checklist and then take us a nice little hike out here to the river trail. It takes you to this part of the Canadian River. And it's cold. There's still frost on the ground this morning. It was about 20 when we woke up with a wind chill of 12, so we waited till about 10 a.m. for the sun to come out and things to kind of warm up and liven up a little bit before we came out here. But they have a lot of nice smaller trails around here. Boiling Springs State Park is really nice. The campsites are really nice, and Definitely a great place to check out if you're in western Oklahoma.
Actually felt a little guilty for not exploring a little more than we have, so we thought we're definitely going to get out today and look at it.
Yeah, it's kind of like we stayed here and we went and did things all around here, but we didn't really check this place out, and it's kind of small, so we're going to do that this morning quick before we get on the road again.
It's so nice and peaceful and quiet.
It is. It's a quiet campground. Nobody bothers you. It's just been great. This has been a really cool little trip.
Yeah. Goodbye, Boiling Springs.
What a great little state park. I mean, it's so clean and nice and quiet. This was kind of found on accident, and it's turned out to be a great few days, and we've stayed busy, and there's lots of activities around. Granted, there are a lot of smaller activities that don't take as much time, but man, a really cool spot for a long weekend or even a week. I think you could be really relaxed here. We did some hikes this morning and saw some wildlife, and just a really pretty place. I'm really happy with this. I'm afraid people are going to think we're trying to shoot a drama with as many tears that are running down my face from the cold wind. It's almost full.
Don't fall here.